What's good? I'm a Ruthless addict. It's your girl Tiffany Shine. Thank you all so much for tuning in to All Things Ruthless, home of the Ruthless Addicts, and it is time for roll call. It's about to go down at Club Eden. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for this week's weekly recap? We've got Madam, Blue, Tommy, Addiction, Doc, Babyface, Midnight, Fuego, Big D, Rashad, Trouble are all getting into some trouble, and Concierge is not playing. Are you guys ready? Let's go. Let's go down to the Eden. Season 3, Episode 1, entitled Deep Cover. Amp begins to spiral out of control while thinking of ways to rectify his shower mishap. Madam comes up against a formidable opponent and begins to use her power to turn the tides her way. Alright, you guys, so when we left off, we did see that Dime had made her way into the men's shower room or the changing room and saw that there was a body wrapped up in this rug. Now, they finally, tell Dime exactly who it is. And because, of course, as you can see in the caption, Dime's like, is this the trick that was with you? And she's like, Amp is like, no, it's not. But then he changes it back. Yes, that's her. And she overdosed. So first they lie about it. Then finally they have to come to a conclusion. This is more than just an overdose. So he tells her, yeah, we were effing in the showers and she hit her head on the hook. Now we know that she didn't just hit her head on the hook. She was literally stumped and stamped and snatched and placed on that hook in the heat of passion. So anyway, you guys, Trouble and Rashad walk in and they are like, what? So, they're trying to figure out like what's going on. But then of course they tell them to get out of there, get out, and so Rashad and Trouble, they do that, they walk out. But then Amp, he's like, look, I don't need you here. We can figure this out ourselves. And then her phone rings. So Dime's phone rings. And of course, it's the one and only Big D on the other line trying to get him a little bit of Dime. But Dime is like, look, I got a whole lot of stuff going on right now. And I don't have time to play with you right now. Don't call me and don't come to my house. So then we see at the jail, you guys. Now, everybody's saying my boy Fuego ain't gonna make it, but I got faith. So at the end of the day, they tell him, look, we in here basically to take you out, and why are you even in here? Why are you at the jail in the first place? And so Fuego's like, look, I just came down here to tell the police what happened. Tell them it was my fault. I didn't blame anybody else. I didn't put anybody else's name in it. I put it all off on me. And so then we see outside of the club, Midnight goes to talk to Trouble and Rashawn just to see what they heard, what they saw. And Rashad is like, look, I didn't see nothing. But Trouble begins to rumble off at the mouth. I saw X, Y, and Z. So now, again, he tells the two of them, he comes out like Mini Debo and sends them back into the club. So then we see Madam and Tommy, and they're out waiting, just sitting in the car waiting. And then we find out who they're waiting for. They're waiting for Casanova. And Casanova hops into the car and tells them, look, I can get rid of all of the files, everything that she has on you. I don't know exactly what it is. I know she's supposed to be meeting with the DA, but I can figure out a way to get rid of everything, and that way, I can go about my business and live my life, and you can move on, and there will be nothing on you that she can, will have to say. And Madam was like, nah, you're gonna start working for me. Like, how much do you get paid anyway? I could pay you double that, or I could pay you that 2 or 3 times a year. So she's saying your annual pay is $50,000. So I could pay you 2 or 3 times a year, $50,000+. So anyway, he's like, look, then she lets him know, look, the situation in the jail, because he also tells her that Fuego's not talking. He's not saying anything about her. Her name is not even in the conversation. So she tells Casanova, okay, call that whole situation off. Don't let nothing happen to him. So then we finally see, we've been looking for our girl Blue. And Blue survived. She survived falling, I don't know how many stories down, and just so happened to fall into a bed of plants. She made it though. And the shots we thought she received, she actually had her vest on, which is smart. Blue's gonna always come prepared one way or another. So she sees this lady, and she asked the lady to let her use her phone. And the lady's like, oh my God, do I need to call the police? And Blue's like, no, I don't need you to call the police. Just give me your phone. So she literally takes the lady's phone in custody. And the lady's like, you took my cricket phone? So she sends the lady on the way, but not without telling her, hey, I like your dog. Listen, watch out, because between Blue and Madam, they'll probably steal your dog next. So anyway, Blue gets on the phone and she makes a phone call. But she survived. She lived to fight another day. So in the amateur locker room, we see Trouble as well as Rashad, and in walks Minnie Debo, Midnight. He tells them, look, y'all didn't see nothing, y'all didn't hear nothing. If I find out you talking about it, y'all gonna be out, in other words. And so she's like, look, Trouble's like, look, I didn't hear anything. But then she, like I said, she goes back and say, this is what I heard. And he's telling her, look, mind your business, do what you do, but just mind your business. And so, which I think this whole conversation was somewhat of a waste of a time. But then again, when we get to the end, I guess we'll realize it wasn't really a whole waste of time. So anyway, you guys, we see Madam, and we were wondering in the trailer why all these police or these black ops people are all in and where was Madam? Now Madam has made her way into her home, and she's surrounded by a whole bunch of black ops, but this black ops team is run by sexy behind Joey, y'all. And Joey is there letting her know, Madam, I got you. This is the team. We got this thing locked down like Fort Knox. It's a whole fortress. She has more security than the president at this time. And of course, Tommy doesn't feel like anybody else should be guarding or protecting Madam. But Madam was like, look, you let Concierge get into my office. So you're no good. You demoted back to top chef at this moment. And of course, there's that male testosterone going back and forth between Joey and Tommy. But listen, Joey kind of fine. So anyway, y'all, I digress, as I always do. Joey lets her know, I got this thing on lock. Madam says, okay, we're secure. I'm secure. I'm going to bed. You don't need to come to bed with me. So this leads me to know or feel that Madam and Joe and Tommy been doing some slip and sliding before, and Tommy just trying to get that old thing back. But she may have had a little something with Joey too. She's easy. These dudes are willing to do any and everything for Madam. So anyway, we see Blue, and she's making a phone call. Who's she calling? She's calling Tommy to let him know, look, your boy Fernando, I was messing with his wife. I didn't know it was his wife, but I was messing with him, and that's Concierge brother. And this dude, they shot at me, and they think I'm dead, but he's like, dang, Blue, I'm sorry. For once, he had a little sympathy for Blue. Because, generally, Tommy and Blue don't really get along like that. They just do what they got to do for the sake of Madam. But she let him, he's like, okay, well, are you okay? You good? She's like, yeah, I'm good. I have my vest on. And so then we see Madam in her lair, in her queendom, laid up with her little red negligee. Like, she go to sleep like this every night, y'all. So anyway, she's on the phone, and who did she receive a phone call from? It's your girl Dime. So Dime has finally called and said, Madam, this is what's going on. Your nephew done took somebody out, blah, blah, blah. And Madam's like, look, I'm too on my pills. I done took my pills. I can't think right now. So whatever these pills do to Madam, it either put her to sleep. It's like a sleeping pill, or it's a F y'all pill. So anyway, she tells her, look, just call Blue. Now, mind you, Madam doesn't know that Blue almost lost her life. Like, Madam doesn't know that Blue went over the ledge or had bullets sprayed at her. She has no idea about this, but she tells Dime to call Blue to fix the situation because she's telling her what happened. So Blue does just that, or Dime does just that. She calls Blue, and Blue has kind of, she's trying to gather herself, but she's like, dang, what now? You know what I mean? Like, I literally just fell over, almost got taken out, but okay, let me go solve the problem. I'll be there. So again, just like I stated, Dime calls Blue and tells her the situation, and she tells her, okay, make sure, just hold tight, I'm on my way. So then we see the three of them, Dime, Midnight, and Amp, in the I was about to call it trailer, y'all, in the men's locker room again, pretty much just waiting for Blue to come. So then we see these two right here, Casanova and Davis, and they're having a conversation. And Casanova's trying to find out exactly what Davis knows, what she has, and then he tells her, look, can you those three guys that you got together, are they talking? And she's like, no, they haven't said anything. He was like, okay, well, I think you should separate them. Get him out of that cell. And so she says, you're right. Okay, I'll do that. So then back at the dressing room, in walks Blue, and Blue is like, okay, so we can't put him in the trash can, because we can't put the body in the trash can because it's too much heat on the club, which is exactly what Dime was saying in the very beginning. So let me make a couple of phone calls. So Blue calls Smoke, but she calls one other person first, and that person can't help her. So she calls Smoke, and Smoke is supposed to basically help get rid of the body, but they gotta take the body over to Smoke. So they, it's like, okay, this is the plan. This is what we're going to do. So then we see Casanova. He's in the office, and he is working, trying to see exactly what they have on Madam. So he calls Madam and tells her, look, this is what they see. They got files against you. They have, she's supposed to be meeting with the DA tomorrow. And so Madam is like, well, get rid of it. He's like, I can't just get rid of it. She's like, well, do whatever you got to do, but I don't need these problems. So he's like, okay, I'll do what I can, but at this point, really, Casanova really actually has no choice. It's either help Madam or lose his life. So then we see, and again, remember, you guys, I told you that the police officer was supposed to go and separate Fuego from the two bullies, Doc and Babyface. And they end up getting in their physical altercation. They start fighting, but Fuego is like, look, if y'all gonna take me out, I ain't going out like no sucker. Y'all gonna have to do what y'all gotta do. And so anyway, we see them in a scuffle, and of course Babyface is on the lookout. But then we see the truck that Amp is driving in has been stopped. That vehicle has been pulled over by the police. But then we see that white little vehicle that Trouble was trying to work on earlier, and she side swaps the police car, and the police car has no choice but to follow her. So now Trouble has involved herself in some business, but it seems that it was definitely some useful business. She also rams that car into a store. So this is the car that we see going into the glass in the trailer, going into this store, and she and Rashad are in the vehicle, Rashad are in the vehicle, but they jump out and run into the woods, and the vehicle is blowing up. Now, how they came to this conclusion that this is what they were going to do, for some reason, BT Plus app was kind of skipping around a little bit, but at the end of the day, we saw that Trouble and Rashad basically, or mainly Trouble, helped save the life and the freedom of Amp as well as Midnight. So then we're back to the jail scene, and the fellas are trying to fight. They almost got my boy. They almost got him. They got him choked out. He's choking. He's scuffling. Babyface is holding Fuego's feet, but then we see Doc trying to choke him out. But then we see finally the police make their way to the freaking jail cell to get, to stop them from breaking out or basically taking out Fuego. So Fuego is there. He literally fought for his life. With that being said, y'all, I will see you guys on the next episode. Episode 1 was absolutely crazy. What were your thoughts? Have you watched the episode? Are you happy that we got to see a little bit more of Fuego? Are you happy that Blue is still alive? With that being said, y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in, and you already know, stay ruthless, and I'll be back with episode number 2 of
Officer,
All the Queen's Men.
please.
For more exclusive content, hit that membership button.
Target